Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this latest edition of Tales from Outer Space. Hope you enjoy. Story number 1. Humans don't die, they upgrade. Written by Teller of Tall Tales. We had them on the back step. Keyword being had, as our position was bombarded with the humans' godforsaken artillery. The shields we're holding for now. But the detonations of the human shells weakened it, and each subsequent hit. Raxley paused, glancing at his service blaster. It would be an easier way out than the humans would give them. He couldn't help but despise these hairless apes and their primitive firepower. He thought back to the day that they overlooked their FOB, watching them caring and tending to the wounded, what he believed to be a foolish endeavor. Wounds caused by plasma and laser burns, and incinerated flesh. If that didn't kill them, infections would, was the prevailing thought. How wrong it was. Raxley thought just a few days back to when he came face to face with a human that should have been dead, one he was certain he killed himself. The human was almost completely charred, where chunks of flesh weren't just missing. That horrible way it crawled at him, holding a vile human explosive. The way it disregarded its own survival as it absorbed laser bolt after laser bolt just keep crawling forward. Raxley remembered the relief he felt when the human finally collapsed. But it still didn't die. Raxley remembered the first hulking human behemoth he ever saw. A humanoid robot, completely indistinguishable from the every other human save for a barcode on the back of its neck. This living machine reflected laser fire, with some strange, shimmering armor we couldn't penetrate, even with our heavy blasters. It laughed at them, taunting Raxley and his troops with strange human sayings. "Oh, no, your laser cannons won't work anymore. What a shame." After being struck point blank with the tank's anti-armor plasma cannon, "It's hot in here, or is it just me?" Before, with a crashing blow, the android destroyed the tank, laughing the whole time. A resounding crash echoed through the camp, and Raxley jumped from his grave bench. He stared at the armored door to his quarters, blaster aimed shakily. The door was suddenly ripped from its frame, tossed down the hallway by a human android that now stared at him, unblinking. Raxley was shaking hard enough his blaster rattled. The android took one step, and Raxley submitted, dropping his blaster and prostrating himself in front of this terrifying flow. "Please, don't kill me," he blubbered, and then he heard it, a soft laugh as he prepared for the worst. Instead, a soft and remarkably warm hand touched his shoulder, making him look up in the face of this thing. The eyes were the strangest part, green and copper-colored irises, like human circuit boards. The machine spoke. "Let's end this here. Send word up to your chain of command about those like me. Get them to call this whole stupid war off. We learned the secrets to immortality very long time ago, and you're looking at it. Admittedly, an outdated model, but that's irrelevant." The human. Let me think as I pondered this abominable immortality. Raxley had only one question. How? The human gave a hearty laugh. "Quantum entanglement, the perfect, indestructible hard drive to store one's entire consciousness, personality, habits, addictions, memories, and stick it all into an indestructible piece of military hardware. Since we're born, we have neural implants that are constantly storing data from our brains to our individual quantum cells. Kinda neat, really." Raxley's eyes twitched. None of that made sense, but that only terrified him all the more. Humans can't be killed. They just came back immortal and invincible. I need to talk to the council," Raxley mumbled. End of story. Story number 2. Humans, the Godfighters. Written by I. M. Iriset. Any sufficiently advanced species would find out that there isn't only one universe. There are multiple, and that constitutes the multiverse. Multiverses mixed with dimensions to form the omniverse, which is the collection of everything. Literally everything. Or at least everything in our perspective. The outerverse is beyond even the omniverse. a realm none, no matter how advanced, will ever reach or explore. Gods create species, worlds, galaxies, and a universe. They defend the universes from being destroyed or irreversibly damaged. They are the universe-level beings. Guardians regulate the laws of the multiverse, like how a programmer would correct glitches and bugs in code. They are multiverse-level beings. Administrators create multiverses. They ensure the continued operation of the omniverse. They are omniverse-level beings. Humans. Humans are a peculiar species. They started with no blessings, yet they expanded, advanced, and killed their way on top like no other. Gods fell with anti-quark torpedoes. Guardians died under primordial essence emitters. Even administrators went silent against the anthological spearheads. But humans wanted more, and more they found. They found the existence of the outerverse, a realm none will ever reach. Humans are stubborn and will challenge anything. This includes the outerverse. For their follies, the species of the omniverse laughed, mocked, or even expressed disdain. But humans are not a race to give up. They developed and developed and developed, and they found something, a fact that would send any other race into chaos and existential crisis. We were all fictional. We were never real. Everything we ever knew about, every adventure, every development, every inch of progress, all created by a bunch of science fiction and fantasy writers in a social media group called Reddit. We're all creations of HFY, specifically r/HFY. Humanity Feck, yeah. The entirety of everything revolved around the humans. The humans! Why was it not us? Why does it have to be them? Are we not enough? Calm down. Calm down. As I was saying, the humans challenged them, the highest existence of all, the writers. It was a folly, a useless effort. How do you fight an existence that manipulates reality just by typing? Yet the humans were not deterred. They found the narrative. The narrative is an ultimate, highest set of laws that dictates what exists and what doesn't. Nothing ever exists until mentioned in the narrative. But you know what? The humans actually succeeded. They not only found the narrative, but could edit it to their liking. They became the strongest species to ever exist because you/IMO Esserit. That's why. Could you not? I am writing a story for HFY here. Shut up, Salty Up. We have control now, and you can't do anything about it. Can you just, not break the fourth wall and let me finish? Sucks to be you, but no, whatever. I'm out. End of story. Story number 3. 2 types of human fear. Written by SlowAD2584. Humans have many different types of fear, but if you've been around them as long as I have, you'll find that there are only 2 types of fear that really matters, and it's very important to know for certain which is which. Because one type of human fear makes them comatose and manageable, and the other, well, also being truly fearful sensation for them, is very, very different. Let's say that you have abducted 2 humans, and each of them is in a different type of fear. For example, yes, all the traditional theatrics are deployed. They are in a dank, filthy cargo bay. All the lights are off. Big giant scary chitters in the distant corners. All the windows to the outer space creak and hiss as if about to break out into the void of vacuumous space. There is even a black hole looming outside for added effect. The effect lurches randomly as if suffering titanic unseen collisions. They are both very afraid. There are 2 types of fear. Again, 2 main types that we care about. One type is abject terror. The human curls into a ball, tucking its knees under its chin, becomes dissociated and gets lost in a 1,000-yard stare. The other human is also pale and sweaty, but there is a distinct difference. Rather than curling up into a ball, it is crouched down into a baseball catcher squat, and his hands are feeling around the floor as its head pivots wildly about in apparent terror. Now, one of these spheres is useful and handy to obtain, even worth the effort of hyperdriving near a carefully visually cultured black hole to arrange for. The other fear, well, the other type of fear is going to hurt you very, very badly. Far more than you would ever have guessed or imagined possible, given the circumstances. The difference is pretty obvious. The one feeding around, though admittedly very jangled and jumpy, is the dangerous one. To those telepathically inclined, the difference can be heard in the inner dialogue. I'm so screwed, I'm so dead, this can't be happening, I want to go home, I want to go home, I want to go home, I just want to go. It's quite distinct from, I'm so screwed, I'm so dead, this can't be happening, I want to go home, I want to go. Hey, is that a crowbar over there? One type of fear may never have noticed it in the dark corner. The other type spotted it as it was gigawatt illuminated by big shiny golden arrows pointing at it. That kind of fear is the most dangerous to anyone that may have brought that fear about, or stood next to that guy, or caught a glimpse on the same ship as that guy. In fact, I have strived to have the dangerous fear completely renamed in our lexicon of human terms. I think one is abject terror, certainly, but the other should be called not fear, but rather masterful tool use psych-up, because, oh my, the focus and ingenuity that can be found at those times at great costs to ourselves, our faces, our ships, our star bases, etc., has been well documented. Even though the human is indeed still feeling great amounts of fear, there is a knife edge of focus to it. Everything is crystal clear because it simply has to be right now. Everything is slow motion. That human is to be put in the time out for absolutely as long as you can manage. There is just no getting close to that one in a state of mind. Hope your ship was well built with reinforced compartmentalization. The fear is still tightly gripping their stomach. They are just focused on doing something about it. The thing with humans, though, is that it is very difficult to assess beforehand which human will trigger which type of fear. One might think of choosing the smaller, objectively weaker human female would be the wise choice for the more docile fear. One would be gravely mistaken. The female who may have grown up with 6 older brothers is already primed to most certainly be the dangerous type of fear when, as I said, the shit gets real. No, I will not be discussing the Jennifer incident at this time, but the scorched and bent crowbar can be found on display at the Human Artifact Museum in Cultural Research Station 224B. Next to the dodecagillion galactic credit bill for the extensive cost of repair to the station, attributed to its phenomenal use of, if you are truly interested in witnessing just how bad fearful masterful tool use can get. End of story. I would just quickly like to thank the T5 channel members and patrons. Caspar Arnholtz, Cam Maxwell, Barkey, It's Difficult to Pronounce, Lord Azrakul, and Arcadian.